Hello and welcome to the butterfly stage. Hopefully you can see well enough here. This was an arc before my husband tilled this section right here. So now I have to remark this out so that the arc is a little bit more defined. So I have a string twine tied to the center of the snowball bush in the middle of the circle, and I use that string to go around and mark the angle of the arc all the way around, kind of using it as a compass. This method is not exactly foolproof. The twine does break every now and then, and I'll have to retie it to the tree and remark out 11 feet and then 25 feet and 18 feet. Well, I just have to keep remarking it, so it's definitely not foolproof, especially when I forget to put it back underneath the snowball bush and I leave it out across the grass, and my husband mows it over and cuts it in half. So I'm just using the spray paint can to draw the line so I can see the arc a little bit better. Now, it's definitely not a perfect straight line, but at this point, I'm not about perfectionism. So now my husband's going to add some good soil to the top of our clay soil, and kind of looking like a coffin at the moment. We will add more decent soil to the rest of this circle arc on a different day, but today we're just going to plant some yarrow. And this yarrow is by Proven Winners. It is Firefly Sunshine. Now I'm going to put a list of all of the benefits that yarrow has for us humans. Please do not just chop up yarrow and take it yourself. Please talk to an herbalist or a doctor on the right amounts and how to specifically brew it for tea. I'm not an expert in that. I'm just telling you what the benefits are. Now, not only is yarrow great for humans, but it benefits pollinators too. The bees love its nectar, and there are certain butterflies that really are attracted to yarrow nectar. Now, one of those butterflies is the monarch butterfly that loves the nectar of the yarrow, and we'll get into that in just a second. But now we're done with this inner circle arc, and we're going to move on to the next inner circle arc and plant the next 3 yarrow. The type of butterflies that like yarrow are the red-banded hair streak, which is in the southeastern part of the United States, and then the banded hair streak, which is most of the Midwest, all of the Northeast, parts of the Southeast, and even up into Alaska. And then there's the American copper, which is specifically the Northeast, and then the West Coast lady butterfly, which goes from the West Coast states into Colorado, Wyoming, New Mexico, Montana areas. And then there's the Lorquin Admiral, which is specifically the 3 West Coast states, Oregon, Washington, and California. Those 5 butterflies really love the nectar of yarrow. So if you have yarrow in your garden, keep an eye out for one of those type of butterflies, depending on what part of the United States you live in. Now, monarchs tend to like the nectar of yarrow too, but generally it's the regular common yarrow, the Achillea millefolium. It's white flowered, and it can be invasive in some areas. It supposedly spreads out really far. Here in Oregon, Western Oregon, I have not found yarrow, the common yarrow, to be invasive in my garden. I planted a plant in my butterfly garden. It's been 6-7 years now, and it has not gotten bigger than 4 by 4 feet, and it's perfect. It's like a ground cover. Now, this yarrow from Proven Winners is a hybrid, so it is probably not going to be invasive because of that. But the downside to a hybrid is it may not be as beneficial to pollinators. You'll probably still see your European bumblebees and all the honeybees, but perhaps you may not get the native bees and butterflies. We shall see. I'm still hoping for some, but we'll see what the difference is between my common yarrow down in my butterfly garden and this hybrid yarrow. Now there we have it. All of the Firefly Sunshine Yarrow is planted. So today we're also going to cut some dahlias before they completely go away, and I'm going to give some to a friend. Don't laugh at the fact that I'm using scissors. I cannot find my pruners for the life of me. Now we're going to go cut a few hydrangeas. That is, if I can find any without them being too dried up already. My husband came to the rescue. He let me use his pruners. I wouldn't have been able to cut the hydrangeas without him. I'm not sure I'm going to need any filler. I'm realizing here that the hydrangeas are not exactly the right color. They're not vibrant enough to match the color of the dahlias.
There you go. That's pretty.
I think I'll just leave it. I'm not too sure about these big dahlias. They're just not... They're not staying in the vase well. You can see the petals are falling off this dahlia, and I'm trying to put the greenery underneath the dahlia to hold it up a little bit better. It was a nice try. It somewhat worked, but in the end, it was an epic fail. Note to self, don't work with huge dinner plate dahlias in a bouquet, or at least pick them a little bit sooner. Okay, let's try this again. I probably should have cut these dahlias about a week or maybe even 2 weeks ago so that they were a little bit more sturdier and not as floppy. But you live and learn. This is my first flower bouquet that I have ever put together, so it's the thought that counts, right? Actually, I don't think it ended up being too bad. The coleus is not showing as well over camera as it did in person. In person, it looks much more vibrant. And the end result. The disastrous mess of what it looks like after I put together a bouquet. Well, thanks for coming, guys. If you've watched this far, the wind's pretty bad, so let me see if I can get this done before it blows me away. And if you're in the West Coast, grab yourself some yarrow and see if you can attract some Lorquin's Admiral or the West Coast Lady Butterfly. Until next time, feed the pollinators for me. Whoa, the wind.